But these will be much more scattered compared with the last couple of days. And then as we go into the start of Wednesday, any showers basically restricted to Cornwall, perhaps Devon. And for most, it's simply a sunny day with high pressure returning across the UK. Some patchy low cloud on the North Sea coast. But we continue to see that high pressure and the sunny skies on Thursday and Friday.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
You could be the next big winner on the road in this brand new Alnag Baron 560 motorhome, courtesy of Marquis Leisure. Imagine the fun you could have. Listening or watching on demand.
The royal family is an enduring symbol of tradition, unity and pride for Britain. At GB News, we celebrate what makes this country great. In our new royal newsletter series, you can join me, Cameron Walker, for Inside the Palace, an exclusive look every week that takes you beyond the gates and brings you the very latest from those at the heart of the monarchy. Never miss a royal moment again. Sign up now. Go to gbnews.com/royal newsletter and get the latest straight to your inbox.
It's Patrick Christys tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christys tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news,
please bring us up to date.
Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight. At least 400 illegal immigrants arrived whilst Keir Starmer made this speech.
One nation experiment in open borders, conducted on a country that voted for control. Well, no more. Today, this Labour government is shutting down the lab.
OK, then. Do you believe that this man will get tough on immigration?
To make the wider case on immigration, we welcome migrants. We don't scapegoat them.
OK, well, also tonight...
Huge breaking news for you this hour, and it's this. Counter-terrorism police have confirmed they are now leading a probe into a suspicious late-night fire at the Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer's house.
Well, it's just got a lot worse, actually, because now counter-terrorism police are looking at whether another house fire and a car that was set ablaze are all linked to that incident at Keir Starmer's North London home. So watch this space, because I've got a feeling we might have another update for you over the course of this show. But in other news, police state Britain. Cops raid a man's home for a social media post and detain him after finding Brexity books. Plus, very serious breaking news tonight. The Southport murderer Axel Rudikabana has attacked a prison officer. Are monsters like Axel Rudikabana and Islamist terrorists given too many rights in prisons? Also,
Patrick is the star presenter on GB News. His first love, of course, is curry.
some people win BAFTAs, Oscars, maybe even a Brit Award. Last night, I was crowned Curry Industry Media Personality of the Year. But guess what?
Ed, tell us about Labour's climate and nature plans.
First, by 2030, with Labour, we'll have clean power powering every community.
That bloke, Ed Miliband, is about to shut your local curry house down. On my panel tonight, we've got Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, we've got Labour Party activist Chris Worrell, and the former chairman of the Tory party, Sir Jake Berry. What's going on here? And why has this video caused so much controversy?
Yeah, and then we made it to the German bedroom and we got through the border. Right.
Get ready, Britain, here we go. Nothing Keir Starmer said today will stop the boats. Next.
Good evening, it's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Katie Bowen in the GB newsroom. Counter-terrorism police are investigating a fire at Sir Keir Starmer's North London home that broke out in the early hours of this morning. London Fire Brigade attended and the fire was extinguished. No one was hurt in the overnight incident, which caused damage to a door at the property's entrance. Counter-terror police confirmed tonight that they are leading this investigation as, quote, a precaution due to the property having previous connections with a high-profile public figure. A Downing Street spokesman said that the Prime Minister thanks the emergency services for their work. The incident is subject to a live investigation and we won't be commenting further. There are further reports tonight, exclusively in the Mail Online, that police are looking at another property and a car and seeing if the blazes are linked. Our Home and Security editor Mark White gave this update.
It happened about 1:10 in the morning. Just after that, the fire brigade got calls to reports of a fire in the main entrance to this building. Local residents were reporting a loud bang followed by this fire. And listen, we just need to look at the various images that we have of the police response. They're in full forensic clothing. They don't turn up for a chip pan fire, even at a Prime Minister's residence, if it's just a domestic, non-suspicious fire. It's clearly a suspicious fire. Real concern that this may have been a deliberate firebombing attempt.
Elsewhere, the Home Secretary has said that immigration has not been properly controlled or managed, as she outlined the government's immigration white paper in the House of Commons. Yvette Cooper said that the government will strengthen checks on visas to end abuse of the system, as she announced that the white paper will end the overseas recruitment of care workers. The Home Secretary went on to say that higher English language standards will be put in place for those that come to the UK. She added that the government will go further to increase returns of foreign criminals. Her announcement comes as the Prime Minister promised a significant fall in net migration this morning, saying without controls on immigration, we risk becoming an island of strangers. Well, Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp criticised the government for record small boat arrivals this year and demanded further action. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper said that immigration is not the answer to the skills shortage, adding that the measures should reduce visa numbers by around 100,000 a year.
The impact of the changes to skilled worker visas, care worker visas, settlements, students and English language is expected to reduce visas by a further around 100,000 a year. And in addition, the new workforce strategies, immigration skills charge, family and asylum reforms will further bring numbers down on top of that. And as the Prime Minister has said, where we need to go further to restore a sustainable system, we will.
A cable fault has caused severe travel disruption and a fire in London today. Transport for London suspended several tube lines due to a power failure. Disruption remains on the Bakerloo, District and Jubilee lines, while the overground Mildmay line is also disrupted. A spokesman for TfL said that there was an outage following a fire at an electrical substation in West London. The outage was said to last for a matter of minutes and everything shut down due to a national grid issue. And the King attended the Household Cavalry New Standards Parade at Windsor Castle earlier today. The standards symbolise the cavalry squadron's history, achievements and identity and are held in the highest reverence. His Majesty, alongside the Princess Royal, inspected the parade. King Charles told the Household Cavalry to carry the standards with pride and serve your country well. Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now let's go back to Patrick.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Good evening. Literally, as the Prime Minister was saying this...
Now, make no mistake, this plan means migration will fall. That's a promise.
This was happening. Around 400 migrants crossed the Channel this morning. It's now up somewhere in the region of about 700. And in they come. More than 12,000 already this year. There they are on a bus. They've arrived. They've made it. Well done, lads. In you come. The Prime Minister wanted to talk tough today.
We risk becoming an island of strangers, not a nation that walks forward together. So when you have an immigration system that seems almost designed to permit abuse, that encourages some businesses to bring in lower-paid workers rather than invest in our young people, or simply one that is sold by politicians to the British people on an entirely false premise, then you're not championing growth, you're not championing justice, or however else people defend the status quo.
I mean, it's just words. It means nothing. How do we know? Because it all fell down when he was asked this question.
Going further mean disentangling ourselves from the ECHR and disapplying human rights laws in immigration cases?
No, I don't think that is necessary. I also remind myself that the international agreements we've signed have given us the basis for the deals that we've struck on illegal migration.
Right, well, that's that then, isn't it? He's not going to leave the ECHR, so we might as well just pack up and go home. Yesterday, it was revealed that the migrant hotel maestro, Mr. Graham King, has become a billionaire. His wealth has jumped 35% and he is Britain's first migrant hotel billionaire. In Northern Ireland, asylum accommodation costs are set to quadruple to £400 million. And as we know, the government is paying the private contractor Serco to put illegals up in rental accommodation across Britain for the foreseeable future. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper says the French are going to start doing more.
France has now agreed that they will now start to intervene in French waters in order to prevent small boats. That hasn't happened yet, but the previous government spent 6 years trying to persuade them. They have now agreed as a result of the pressure that we've been putting on, the discussions that we have had, and we need that to start.
I'll believe it when I see it. I don't think anything announced today will stop the boats. Let's get the thoughts of my panel, journalist and broadcaster Carol Malone. We, of course, have Labour Party activist Chris Worrell and the former chairman of the Tory party, Sir Jake Berry. Carol, focusing on the small boats, I mean, the fact that 400 mostly young men crossed the Channel as Keir Starmer was talking this morning, it doesn't fill anyone with confidence, does it?
Well, you see, focusing on the small boats, he didn't focus on the small boats, he didn't mention them at all, which is astonishing because, 50% of people in this country now think it is the main issue, immigration, illegal, not legal, and he didn't even talk about it. And I just think this, I listened to him today, I was in the car, I was on the radio, and he's saying things like, the experiment is over, we're going to close the lab. And I'm thinking, you've completely lost the plot. He did not talk about the kind of immigration that affects the people in this country, that not just affects them, it incenses them, because they're paying through the nose for the people you just saw on the screen here. I was thinking, he's not even going to... He won't even put a cap on it, which I find astonishing. Well, I don't, because not having a cap on it means that he's not going to have to take responsibility when he doesn't meet the target. And I just thought today he's more tin-eared than ever. To ignore the small boats, to not talk about them, to not talk about the thing that really is upsetting people in this country, shows to me he has no intention of stopping the boats. And when he was just asked the question there about the ECHR, we know that he has now made a formal commitment with the EU to support the ECHR. So all the stuff you talked about, the deportations, they're never, ever going to happen.
Well, also, they were pulled up today in Parliament, Sir Jake, I don't know if you saw this, on saying that they deported nearly 19,000 people, and it turns out that actually, under the definition of deportation, which is that you actually forcibly remove someone, it's closer to 5,000. Is this just a tissue of lies?
Yes.
Well, look, I think the thing is that the Prime Minister gave a commitment today. He said, I guarantee we will bring immigration down. That is probably something they will succeed in, because numbers are coming down anyway. But you're right to say that a lot of this thing is just smoke and mirrors. So, for example, they said, if you commit a crime in this country, we will make it easier to deport you. We've had ridiculous cases of people not wanting to be separated from KFC because their children like eating chicken nuggets, and therefore the right to the family life extends to that. The one crime, of course, they're not saying they'll deport you for, is the crime of illegally coming to the UK in the first place. That was the law of the land when Keir Starmer came to power, and he ripped that law up. And he's now surprised that today we've set a record. Over 700 people have come to the UK today. And using the Home Office's own figures that say that each asylum seeker costs the British taxpayer £12,000 a year, figures they themselves have said are far too low, in the last 3 days, it's added £12 million to the cost of the British taxpayer, the equivalent, just in case you ask, Patrick, of 400 nurses working on NHS.
Oh, there you go.
It's a disgrace.
Oh, remarkable. Chris, I mean, he's actually managed to alienate the left here, hasn't he? I mean, the right don't like him, they don't believe a word he says, and now everyone on the left don't like him either.
I mean, let's just get one thing straight. The immigration white paper today is about legal migration. Illegal migration is separate to that. So if we're going to look at what the reasons are for why illegal migration is high, it's because we didn't have any deportation agreements as from the withdrawal agreement under Brexit, right? We didn't have anyone talk about that. No removals agreement.
How many were removing when we were in the EU?
Sorry? Well, the point being is we didn't have the fact that we didn't have a deportation agreement, so they weren't coming over. As soon as these guys put in this sort of naff criminalisation, thinking that was going to deter anyone, the smuggling gangs just sent them over, because you know what they said? You can't be sent back. We used to be able to send them back to France. We used to be able to go send them back to France. It's not incorrect, it's a fact.
Let's talk about the smuggling gangs. He was going to smash them. How many do you think he smashed? None.
Sorry, Carol.
Sorry,
Carol. The Border Security Command Bill, which was in the manifesto, by the way, hasn't gone through Parliament yet.
So they've already had £200 million, so they've done nothing.
Do you mean the Border Security Command that now acts as an unpaid taxi service for immigrants coming over the Channel?
We can't complain about a policy that hasn't been enacted in Parliament yet if it's going through Parliament.
It costs the British taxpayer £200 million. And this matters, right? Let's put it into context.
Yeah.
Yesterday, the Metropolitan Police came out and said one of those individuals who'd been arrested for trying to blow up the Israeli embassy, one of the Iranian criminals, was an asylum seeker who had come to this country illegally, living in a taxpayer-funded house. Now, if you're Iran, of course you just put them in a dinghy to come over here to literally detonate bombs on our streets. These are the people we're letting in. This matters. It's not some sort of joke. It really matters, and he's completely failed to do it.
I want to just talk about Chris. So currently, and I'm looking at a map here now, so currently the French Navy have an escort vessel parked, moored, I suppose is the technical term, just off the coast of France, just off the coast of Calais. So, according to Yvette Cooper, tomorrow, that escort vessel, if someone sets off, should tow them back to France, shouldn't it, according to what she said? Do you think that's going to happen?
No, she said, as you saw, that they will be putting that in place. There's also a Dunkirk detention centre. But we've got the Border Security Command, right? It has not been enacted yet. It's all been set up. But this is the point. You talk about if you've got a smuggling...
It costs $200.
If you're a smuggling gang, and if you've got a government that then doesn't have an agreement with France to return them to where they came from, which is what we used to have under the EU, but we didn't need that. If you look at the withdrawal agreement and the smuggling gang illegal route increase, it is cause and effect, correlation.
Can I
just while Carol talks, is there any chance we can reload that clip of Yvette Cooper up? Because I just want to make sure we're
Yeah, she said it's not coming in yet.
Yeah, OK. I want to make sure we're absolutely certain about what she said,
Yes,
right?
be sure.
So, Carol,
can I just say, do you actually think your man has any credibility on immigration? Because it's not so very long ago he was saying very different things. He did, you know, today he said that immigration is Labour's it's its core value. 3 or 4 years ago he was welcoming migrants. He was saying come here. He was trying to attack the Tories for trying to deport foreign criminals. He actually signed a campaign to stop 50 Jamaican criminals being taken out of the country. So are we to believe now that he's now intent on stopping
It's almost
immigration?
like the Labour Party got battered last Thursday in the election.
Yeah, it's almost like
it's almost like it's a reaction to that.
It's almost like neither of you read the Labour Party manifesto, because if you if you did, it said we've got to control and manage borders. We're going to return, increase our number of removal agreements with countries on the 50 migrants from the foreign criminals of Jamaica. That him campaigning against something that hasn't followed due process is not saying all of them come in or not go back.
I just want to go because look, I think Chris is probably right in what he said about Yvette Cooper saying not coming to force yet or whatever. But let's just listen to what she said about what the French are going to do, what Labour have secured, that the Tories couldn't secure, that the French are going to do with these illegal boats. Let's play it.
France has now agreed that they will now start to intervene in French waters in order to prevent small boats. That hasn't happened yet, but the previous government spent 6 years trying to persuade them. They have now agreed as a result of the pressure that we've been putting on, the discussions that we have had, and we need that to start.
Well, hang on a minute. When are they not going to do that tomorrow?
Well, it was conditional on a deal. So under Rishi Sunak, they'd agreed. No.
This is about what
I'm about to explain what hadn't been done. What hadn't been done, and what she's doing is she made the detention centre conditional on funding and the taxi boat. So what they were able to do is able to walk out in the water 300 metres and get on the boat, and no one can intercept them. But now they're going to be stopped.
So
what are we paying France for now, if not to stop the people getting in the boats and going? What are we paying the money for? You see the coppers standing on the beach, you see them having a fag, and they just watch the migrants getting into the boats. So why are we paying?
I'd rather they had some money to stop them coming over, unlike last time.
Not doing it. Well, they've had £500 million of British taxpayers' money.
Be thanks to you.
Not doing it. The number of small boats is going up, not down.
Brexit caused this.
Keep blaming the Tories.
Let's wait and see. Because at the top of the 10 o'clock hour, we're going to be zoning in on what Keir Starmer said about legal immigration. We've got a very handy guide, actually, to his previous comments, Yvette Cooper's previous comments, David Lammy's previous comments, Angela Rayner's previous comments, and Bridget Phillipson's previous comments. Let's just see what they said previously and what they are saying now. But before that, it's time for our great British giveaway. It's a £67,000 motorhome, £5,000 in tax-free cash. Here's how you can be in it to win it.
Great Britain is ready for you to explore this summer.
Good luck, everybody. So coming up, after vicious attacks on prison officers by the Southport killer Axel Rudy Cabana and the Manchester Arena bomb plotter Hashim Abedi, experts are now calling for extremist prisoners to be separated from the general population. Look, I'm asking this. Do vile criminals have too many human rights behind bars? Former editor of The Sun, Calvin Mackenzie, joins me very soon. But first...
So that if a business wants to bring people in from abroad, they must first invest in Britain.
Is Starmer going to cripple the care home sector, or should we be training Brits to do it instead of relying on cheap migrant labour? That's next.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, and as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain. He can say whatever he wants. A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
The royal family is an enduring symbol of tradition, unity and pride for Britain. At GB News, we celebrate what makes this country great. In our new Royal Newsletter series, you can join me, Cameron Walker, for Inside the Palace, an exclusive look every week that takes you beyond the gates and brings you the very latest from those at the heart of the monarchy. Never miss a royal moment again. Sign up now. Go to gbnews.com/royal newsletter and get the latest straight to your inbox.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. Maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. Coming up shortly, I've got a big announcement about tomorrow's show, but also, do dangerous criminals basically have too many human rights behind bars? Now, though, should we be training Brits up to work in care homes rather than relying on cheap migrant labour? It's time for that head-to-head. One of the big takeaways, this, from Sir Keir Starmer's speech earlier. So social care providers have now hit out at the government's ban on migrant workers tonight, with many warning that it will force care homes to shut entirely. The Prime Minister announced plans to bar care homes from recruiting migrants and bringing them to the UK. Instead, they'll be required to hire British staff or foreign workers who are already in the UK. About 11,000 people from overseas took up posts in the English independent care provider sector in each quarter last year. It's a high number, that. A high number. Down from 26,000 per quarter the previous year. So the dust had barely settled on Starmer's announcement before care home bosses piled in to voice their anger at the new policy. The chief executive of Care England, Professor Martin Green, warned that care homes will be forced to shut. So look, tonight I am asking, what do you think about this? Has he knackered the care home sector, or actually, is he right? We should not be relying on cheap migrant labour. Get those Brits doing those jobs. Let me know. You can go to GB gbnews.com/your say. Going head-to-head on this now are the CEO and founder of the social care provider Woolfinch, Amrit Dhaliwal, and the businessman Mike Green. Thank you very much. Tremendous to have you both in the studio. Mike, I'll start with you. So, I mean, is this right? Should Brits be doing these jobs?
Yeah, look, everything's broken at the moment in the UK, and this isn't a political statement. Our roads are broken, our hospitals are broken, our education's broken, we're not building enough houses, and we've already had a 10 million person increase in our population in the last 20 years. We owe it to the people who are here now, wherever they came from, to get them working, to get them earning, to give them skills. Why on earth, when we've already got 1.57 million, 4.4% of our current population not working, would we be attracting people from outside? Why aren't we teaching those people, getting them started on the career ladder and giving them the training to get them working?
Amrit, is it unfair to say that care home bosses actually just want to keep employing cheaper foreign labour instead of maybe more expensive Brits?
Thank you, Patrick. So, in the first instance, I'm here representing the home care market, part of the social care sector, and the reality is that foreign staff is not cheaper because of the way that the sponsorship licenses are structured. But furthermore, currently, as it stands, within the home care sector, there is 130,000 available vacancies that are not being filled by local staff. And we would love to have local staff come in and do that. You know, by 2040, we're going to need over 500,000 additional care workers just to maintain the current standard of care. You know, we're not talking about a visa. We're talking about the story behind that visa. Every visa for a care worker has, you know, somebody's family there, someone helping get somebody discharged from a hospital and get them home. It's somebody's mother there that's being taken care of. We are really jeopardising the quality of care that can be provided in the UK.
And Amrit, I'll sit with you if that's all right, and then I'll go back to Mike. Is it that British workers just don't want to do what can be, a difficult job for a variety of different reasons? I'm sure everyone knows what I'm talking about.
I think there's, you know, a whole variety of reasons. First of all, you know, the sector is not funded properly by the local authorities. There are 30% of the local authorities around the country that are paying less than the minimum wage when it goes to contracted work for care work. So people that are providing care are getting the minimum wage or less to actually provide that work.
Just on that, sorry, but I really want you to educate me on this, because shouldn't you be paying them more then?
So, at Woolfinch, you know, we are really sort of firm on paying care workers well and treating the care worker, you know, and getting the premium care workers to say, right, actually, we will pay well above minimum wage for care workers. And actually, the sector as a whole absolutely wants to do that. I have never yet met a care provider that doesn't want to pay their staff well. However, in order to maintain care and get people discharged and keep the system flowing, we've had to manage that on large local authority contracts, and I'm talking about the sector as a whole.
OK. Mike, just come back to this, because, I mean, there is a case, isn't there, that we've got an ageing population, and at some point, you never know, we might need care. We possibly have relatives who are already in care or something like that. And ultimately, we need a human being to look after them, don't we? So does it really matter where they come from?
I think it matters in the sense that we're already overpopulated and unable to properly provide for the people that are here, wherever they came from. OK, there's also a disconnect for me. And I'm sorry, Amrit, but I had a look on the Woolfinch website, and there's lots of promotion about how franchisees can be making £500,000 in year 1 or 2 and so on. So it's a very profitable sector. People are being charged up to £3,000 a week to stay in these care homes. So why can't the staff be paid more? But also, if you say it costs more for people who are brought in, why can't that more be put to training of people who are here and should be made to work and attracted to work and trained? And if the government support care homes, I think they should be supporting them in the training of people. I started literally in my career, I started a paperboy Saturday lad summer job, filling shelves and so on. And starting at the very lowest level, I was able to build international business and run retail networks. Just because it's a low-paid job, low-skilled job, let's get these low-paid, low-skilled people in the UK working and trained to build a career. It's a massive disconnect for me as to why we would bring people in from abroad when there's so many unemployed here.
Amrit, I'll let you come back to that directly, which I think in a nutshell is the fact that it is a very profitable sector, and the idea that we need to rely on cheaper or cheap at all migrant labour is maybe not entirely true.
The fact remains, in order to provide a good quality service, you need good quality care workers. There are tons of vacancies. There's providers that are willing to invest in staff. We have clear pathways, but there is not that marry up with the central government. There is a lack of commercial reality with the central government, who have not funded the sector. They are not creating clear pathways. I would actually openly invite Keir Starmer to come and join us at one of the Wolfinch offices and do a day of recruitment, do a day of care, and see what these professionals are actually doing.
OK, both of you, look, thank you very, very much. I know it's a topic that's close to a lot of our viewers and listeners' hearts, so tremendous to have you both on the show there. Well, I suppose, who do you agree with? Do you agree with Amrit Dhaliwal there, or do you agree with Mike Green? Is the Prime Minister right to ban these workers? Gillian says people in care homes prefer locals who know the area and can have a conversation. Most carers live locally, pay them 20 grand a year by subsidising care homes. The local carers already have homes. Bringing more people into the country means less homes locally. One more here. Catherine says, you've got to make sure there's enough Brits to work in the care sector before you stop the visas from overseas. So a range of views there. Now, coming up, yes, curry house bosses are warning that the government's clean energy drive could put them out of business. So will Ed Miliband's net zero obsession spell the end of your curry house? The winner of the British Curry Industry Media Personality of the Year Award, thanks to the British Bangladeshi Caterers Association last night, I feel I'm uniquely placed to talk about this topic, so I'll get stuck into that shortly. But before we do all of that, after vicious attacks on prison officers by the Southport killer Axel Rudy Cabana and the Manchester Arena bomb plotter Hashim Abidi, is it now time to acknowledge that maybe some of these monsters have too many human rights behind bars? Former editor of The Sun, Kelvin Mackenzie, is live, and he's next.
I hope it doesn't rain.
Don't worry about it.
It'll spoil our holiday.
Relax, we're totally covered.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Spring showers are possible across many areas of the Mediterranean over the next few days. Some of those could be heavy at times, maybe with some hail, thunder and some strong gusts of wind. It will also be generally quite breezy around coastal districts, but further inland away from the showers there will be some drier conditions prevailing and sunny spells managing to poke their way through at times. And into the outlook period as well, we will still see some of those sunny spells to enjoy at times.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Showers tending to ease overnight, but there will be more for some later on Tuesday. However, for many, it is going to turn increasingly sunny once again over the next few days. High pressure waiting to push back in. This low that brought the thundery downpours in places over the last couple of days is now starting to move south. Having said that, there will still be one or two showers overnight, especially parts of Wales into the Midlands and the southeast. And there'll be some low cloud drifting into the north and east of Scotland, as well as northeast to England. Temperatures tending to dip to the high single figures, low double figures, and plenty of sunshine actually first thing Tuesday. Certainly a sunnier start for many of these western and southern parts of the UK, where we saw some early cloud and rain on Monday morning. But it will be a dull start to the day for Orkney, for the north and east of Scotland, into Fife, as well as the far north east of England. That low cloud tending to stick around for the first couple of hours before retreating back to the coast. Also some patchy cloud into the southwest of England, a brisk breeze here, but otherwise it's going to be a sunny start essentially across most of the UK. Now, as the morning progresses and we go into the afternoon and as temperatures rise, the area where we saw some showers and thunderstorms on Monday will tend to provide a focus for further showers developing into Tuesday afternoon. South Wales, central southern England and the southeast most prone to these downpours. Hail, thunder, lightning, always a possibility, but these will be much more scattered compared with the last couple of days. And then as we go into the start of Wednesday, any showers basically restricted to Cornwall, perhaps Devon, and for most it's simply a sunny day with high pressure returning across the UK, some patchy low cloud on the North Sea coast, but we continue to see that high pressure and the sunny skies on Thursday and Friday.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
This is Britain's newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys. Tonight, coming up, Ed Miliband is going to kick the door down to your local curry house and shut it down. Not literally, but close. First, though, experts are calling for Islamist prisoners to be separated from other prisoners amid horrifying rises in attacks on prison officers. Writing in The Telegraph, a former officer in the government's Prevent Counter-Terror programme, which of course worked so well when it came to Axel Rudikabana, this guy's called Ghaffar Hussein, said, in the Netherlands, Spain and France, extremist prisoners are often segregated from the general population, preventing them from influencing other inmates. These countries have reported improved prison safety and more effective targeting of counter-radicalisation interventions. Well, his intervention comes after Southport monster Axel Rudikabana allegedly threw boiling water over a prison officer at HMP Belmarsh. That came after the Manchester Arena bomb builder Hashim Abidi also attacked officers in HMP Franklin. Well, I'm joined now by the former editor of The Sun, Kelvin Mackenzie. Kelvin, do these extremists have too many human rights in prison?
Well, they've denied other people their lives, let alone any kind of rights. So I think there are two major issues. First of all, these attacks are coming around more regularly. Secondly, prison officer recruitment must be being affected. Why would you want to go and work somewhere where some mass murderer is throwing hot water all over you? And thirdly, I guarantee to you, unless we act in a more serious and deliberate manner in which we detach these people from even rather nasty prisoners, right, we are going to wake up one morning and we're going to discover that 1, 2 or 3 of our prison officers, our fantastically brave prison officers who do an astonishing job, really, in an atmosphere of utter violence and evil, right, they're possibly going to be dead. Who knows?
Yeah, we've had a couple of big wake-up calls in the last couple of weeks. So I think everyone just assumed that Axel Rudikabana was kept in solitary confinement, maybe fed through a hatch, had absolutely no privileges whatsoever, and was probably in the most extreme conditions you could be in legally in British prisons. And it turns out that obviously wasn't the case, because he even had access to things like a kettle by the looks of things, and he committed his alleged offence on a wing, so he was allowed out of his cell. So kill 3 little girls, maim a load of others, behave like one of the most evil people that's ever walked the face of the earth, and actually you're not even kept in solitary confinement, Calvin.
Yeah, that is true. And of course, he was kept at HMP Belmarsh, which is considered home of some absolute horrors. And as I understand it, tonight, he's being moved out to to an even more controlled environment where literally they will slide the food under the door in order to keep him separate. But these people have nothing else to think about all day long. And the other thing to think about in the light of the debate that's gone on today, right, is the following. The Manchester bombers came from Syria. The parents of Rida Kabana, they came from Africa. And I see tonight there's a Somalian killer who managed to use his car as a weapon and kill somebody on an e-bike. Surely there are some terrible things that happen. We have enough thugs in our own country without inviting other people in. And that's something else we have to deal with as part of the control of giving our prison officers a proper job, which doesn't involve them potentially being murdered. We have to look at the kind of people we are allowing into our nation. We have shockers. I don't doubt that, right? But there seems to be multiple shockers come from foreign lands or through the DNA of foreign lands. It is most upsetting.
Yeah, I've lost track of the amount of people that I've spoken to in the wake of both the Manchester Arena bombing and certainly Axel Rida Kabana. And that was before both of those respective individuals committed their latest atrocities on our brave prison officers. They say to me, it's changed my mind on the death penalty. It's changed my mind on it. What do you think?
Okay, right. Well, I'm so glad you invited me to say anything about that. I've been saying that for 50 odd years, right? I have been an outsider for 50 years. And even today, when I speak to other colleagues, actually a friend of mine, North London Liberal, right? Basically wanted me out of the house kind of thing. You know, there comes a point when somebody is so vile, I can't understand. And apparently it shows a lack of liberalism on our side that we're prepared to allow people who murder like that to carry on having an enjoyable life. Why? I recognise that it's not going to reduce the number of murders. What it does do is end somebody being a
and the cost
of being a murderer.
And the cost as well. Calvin, thank you very much. Always an absolute pleasure, even though it's a very serious subject matter. Calvin Mackenzie there, former editor of The Sun. Well, coming up at 10.
To make the wider case on immigration, we welcome migrants. We don't scapegoat them.
Can you really trust a word that the Prime Minister says when it comes to migration? I'll give you my take at 10 p.m. First, though, Curry House bosses are warning that the government's clean energy drive, yes, Ed Miliband, is going to put them out of business. Is Ed Miliband the Korma killer? I'm going to be... I won the Curry Industries Media Personality of the Year. I don't like to go on about it, though. Don't like to go on about it. Anyway, I'm going to be joined by the Curry House owner who holds the Guinness World Record for the largest onion bhaji in the world. Stay tuned.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Well, joining us now is the Chief Scout at the Scouting Association, Dwayne Fields. Dwayne, welcome to the programme. Thank you for joining us. You must be delighted at the partnership with the Princess of Wales, and the video is you were in that creation.
Yeah, so good morning, first of all. Yes, I'm absolutely delighted with it. The Princess of Wales has been one of our joint presidents for some time now, and hopefully that will continue. There's no reason to think it won't. And I am delighted. Her platform allows for her to really basically become a megaphone for all the great things we do in Scouting. And there's no denying it. Every single week, we've got 500,000 young people and adult volunteers meeting, and they are learning, building friendships, learning those really important skills for life, having fun, like I said, making friendships. And they're doing all of this voluntarily. And just like I am, so is the Princess of Wales. What you've mentioned there, you know, the being at one with nature, being at peace in nature, I think it's really important for young people to spend time outdoors. We recognize from all the reports, and you yourself have even spoken about it, mental health issues, that we have in society nowadays. Now, this isn't the silver bullet, but I think it is part of the solution. The more young people we can get to spend time in our natural spaces, I think the better we'll be, generally speaking, when we're talking about well-being. Now, in regards to what young people do in our scout groups, it could range from cooking to map reading to model making. Whatever skills the volunteer brings are the skills that we utilize in our groups.
I just don't think I would suit the shorts at my age, but that's it. But there's Dwayne.
Look great in the necker.
GB News, the People's Channel.
The royal family is an enduring symbol of tradition, unity and pride for Britain. At GB News, we celebrate what makes this country great. In our new royal newsletter series, you can join me, Cameron Walker, for Inside the Palace, an exclusive look every week that takes you beyond the gates and brings you the very latest from those at the heart of the monarchy. Never miss a royal moment again. Sign up now. Go to gbnews.com/royal newsletter and get the latest straight to your inbox.
OK, well, welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. Look, coming up, I'm going to be talking about whether or not we can trust a word that the Prime Minister says, and I've got something to reveal about tomorrow's show. But first, Ed Miliband is coming for your korma. Curry House bosses are warning that the Energy Secretary's net zero policies could lead to a total wipeout of traditional curry houses in Britain. The UK is currently home to more than 12,000 curry restaurants, contributing £4.5 billion to the economy each year. The government's push for clean power has now raised fears that gas-fuelled tandoori ovens could basically be banned in curry houses, which is a bit of a shocker. Now, last night, you know, I don't like to go on about this. I was named the British curry industry's media personality of the year. So thank you very much, everybody there. But I wanted to talk to a real pro here, right? A guy who knows his industry inside out. He's the CEO of the Bangladeshi Caterers Association and a Guinness World Record holder for cooking the largest onion bhaji ever in the world. It's Ollie Khan. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in tonight. And, look, before we talk about the actual serious stuff ahead, you have brought some delights in with you.
Onion bhaji, yes, and some curries with me.
Thank you. What have we got? Do you mind me asking what we've
I've got lamb biryani for you. I got chicken tikka masala. I got some pilau rice, papadam, plain naan, and I got garlic chicken chili masala for you.
Well, thank you very much. And I know there's a lot of very excited people outside who can't wait for us to hand this over to them. Yeah. Could we dish something up whilst I talk to you a bit about some of the issues? So what's going on with net zero, then, and the energy costs and things like that?
Well, net zero, basically, when we heard about the net zero policies coming up, as you know, we represent 12,000 curry houses here in the UK. Yeah. Contribute 4.5 billion to the British economy every year. Yeah. And if the net zero policies apply to the UK curry houses or the hospitality industry, it will be very difficult for the curry houses to run because, cooking in a clay oven with the gas is completely different from the electric cooking. So because, the taste of the...
By the way, can I just say...
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying this before anyone chimes in. This is absolutely fantastic. Yeah. The idea that Ed Miliband wants to rip this out of my life, he can go and swivel. Anyway, carry on.
This is one of the most popular, most selling dish in my restaurants and my takeaway. And basically, if this happens, then what will happen to these 12,000 curry houses? Yeah. How are we going to run the tandoori oven? How are we going to run the hobs, the cookers? So, and cooking in gas is completely different from the cooking in electricity. Yeah. So the taste of authentic taste, you can't find this taste. This is why I bring some food to taste now, and then you can taste that with the cooking electricity.
Nobody in Britain is so desperate to hit net zero that they are willing for their local curry house to shut down. Yeah. And I actually think it's an affront because now in every single town, and possibly now actually in every single village in this country, there is a curry house, OK?
Yes.
And everyone enjoys it. Everyone loves going there. It's a classic thing. And it has actually become a very British thing. I mean, the British national dish, chicken tikka masala,
that's right.
It's a big part of the country.
Yeah, and it is part of the British heritage. Curry is the part of the British heritage.
Yeah.
And it's ever since it's so popular. The curry was established in 1810, which is like over 200 years ago.
Really? I mean, the other thing I want to talk to you about, sorry, I'm going to have to try a little bit more. Do you mind?
Definitely.
What have we got in there now?
I got chicken tikka masala here. That's the nation's favourite dish.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking.
Try some rice here as well.
Oh, yeah, please. The other issue is not just about this ridiculous net zero stuff at all.
Yeah.
It's just actually how expensive it is, because curry houses are, well, some of them are large, obviously, but a lot of them are small businesses. And you're getting absolutely hammered with business rates, corporation tax, energy bills, food prices. How difficult is it at the moment?
It's very difficult because energy cost and the recently national insurance contribution, that has gone up as well.
Oh, this is great.
So that's really suffering the industry and in the rates as well. The rates, government had to think about two things, the rates and the VAT cuts at this moment to save this industry. It's not only the curry houses, it's the whole entire hospitality sector are struggling.
Been hammered, and it was hammered during COVID.
Absolutely.
And now you come out of COVID, it's battered again.
Yes, absolutely. And it's like we are running curry house. A lot of the people are actually selling under the price because of they wanted to sustain the business.
That is so
cool. You like it, yeah?
That is so... You know what? If Ed Miliband decides, where's this come from then? This restaurant tonight? It's still warm, by the way. I mean,
come from Stevenage. So my takeaway in Stevenage is called Surma Indian takeaway. I have this bag here.
Let's hold it up. Come on, get it out there.
Yeah, you can see that.
I will make a guarantee. If Ed Miliband tries to shut your curry house down, I will lie in front of the bulldozers, my friend.
Yeah. So, and then I got a restaurant, Spice Rouge in Stevenage, both in Stevenage as well. So I got them from Stevenage, and I thought, you wanted it because this taste, this authentic taste, you can't find it on electric cooking.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm telling you, and government to rethink about this policy, that what they are, the net zero policy, that got to be rethink and say we have to save the whole of the hospitality industry. Because the fish and chips, they're also struggling. The fish and chips, I think one of the president Andrew Cook is probably going to join you. And I saw his interview last week, and there's a lot of fish and chips. They'll be struggling if this has been introduced.
Yeah.
So it's very...
Well, and also, I think as well, just when you add up what you actually contribute in terms of the economy, but also just in terms of, the high street and restaurants and British culture and the amount of good times generally that people have down the local curry house, etc. The idea that you're going to shut that down. I mean, what would your message to Ed Miliband and Keir Starmer be? Because, by the way, I don't know about this, but I mean, Labour won a big majority at the last election. So that implies to me that maybe quite a few people who own curry houses voted for Labour. So now they might be regretting that a little bit.
No, actually, Keir Starmer is good friend of the curry houses. He's good friend of the BC, Bangladesh Caterers Association, because his constituency is not far from our office. It's just a few miles away. And what the government has to think about, this industry is contribute a lot of money to the economy. And these small businesses, these are the businesses who pay the taxes and everything. Yeah. So if we need to come up with the idea that need to sustain this business. We need to come up with a solution. So we need to work with the government to bring up a solution to sustain this business. If the curry house is closing in the rate of last month, I have a report of 70 curry houses has been closed down from all over the
Which is ridiculous, right? Because we have got now a bigger population than ever, so it's a bigger market than ever.
Exactly.
It's never been easier to buy a curry. You get on your phone, you've got Just Eat Delivery, all of this stuff. So something is going... Excuse me, I've just spilled curry on me. Something is going badly wrong if that many curry houses are shutting down, because the market has never been bigger. So that implies that there's a problem there with the way it's going. But look, I'm sorry, we're going to have to go, but thank you.
Thank you so much.
I want to say a massive thank you.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you for inviting me at the GB News.
Trust me, any time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And I know we'll have a chat we'll have a chat backstage as well. But thank you so much for all this. And what's the name of the restaurant again?
It's Surma Indian Takeaway. That's in Stevenage. It's been established there for over 25 years.
Well, go there. Just go there. Right, OK. Curry houses can continue to use clay ovens under our plans. That's a government spokesperson. Anyway, there we go. Loads more coming up at 10 p.m, including a big announcement about tomorrow's show. So I'll see you in a sec. Oh, look at...
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Showers tending to ease overnight, but there will be more for some later on Tuesday. However, for many, it is going to turn increasingly sunny once again over the next few days. High pressure waiting to push back in. This low that brought the thundery downpours in places over the last couple of days is now starting to move south. Having said that, there will still be 1 or 2 showers overnight, especially parts of Wales into the Midlands and the southeast. And there'll be some low cloud drifting into the north and east of Scotland, as well as northeast to England. Temperatures tending to dip to the high single figures, low double figures, and plenty of sunshine actually first thing Tuesday. Certainly a sunnier start for many of these western and southern parts of the UK where we saw some early cloud and rain on Monday morning. But it will be a dull start to the day for Orkney, for the north and east of Scotland, into Fife, as well as the far northeast of England. That low cloud tending to stick around for the first couple of hours before retreating back to the coast. Also some patchy cloud into the southwest of England, a brisk breeze here. But otherwise, it's going to be a sunny start essentially across most of the UK. Now, as the morning progresses and we go into the afternoon and as temperatures rise, the area where we saw some showers and thunderstorms on Monday will tend to provide a focus for further showers developing into Tuesday afternoon. South Wales, central southern England and the southeast most prone to these downpours. Hail, thunder, lightning, always a possibility, but these will be much more scattered compared with the last couple of days. And then as we go into the start of Wednesday, any showers basically restricted to Cornwall, perhaps Devon, and for most it's simply a sunny day with high pressure returning across the UK, some patchy low cloud on the North Sea coast, but we continue to see that high pressure and the sunny skies on Thursday and Friday.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
You could be listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
From the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight. 400 illegal immigrants arrived whilst Keir Starmer was making this speech.
The one nation experiment in open borders, conducted on a country that voted for control. Well, no more. Today, this Labour government is shutting down the lab.
I'm actually quite angry about this, though, because today he finally admitted what we knew all along.
So we've had the highest net migration when the last government lost control to nearly 1 million and stagnant growth.
Yeah, absolutely. But do you believe that this bloke, seriously, is going to get tough on immigration?
To make the wider case on immigration, we welcome migrants. We don't scapegoat them.
Well, I've also got this tonight.
Some huge breaking news for you this hour, and it's this. Counter-terrorism police have confirmed they are now leading a probe into a suspicious late-night fire at the Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer's house.
Well, the breaking news in the last few moments actually is this. The Metropolitan Police has said that it is looking at 3 separate incidents, a second property blaze, one involving a car, and whether or not they are all connected. What concerning stuff this. Looks like potentially coordinated attacks against our Prime Minister. But in other news, police state Britain. Cops raid a man's home for a social media post and detain him after finding Brexity books. Well, on my panel tonight, we've got Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, the Labour Party activist Chris Worrell, and the ex-chairman of the Tory party, Sir Jake Berry. And can you tell me what's going on here? And why has this video caused so much controversy?
Yeah, and then we made it to the German bedroom and
yeah, we got through the border.
Right.
Oh, I don't know. Anyone? Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Keir Starmer is asking you to believe he's a completely different person to the one he's always been. Next.
Good evening, it's just gone 10 o'clock. I'm Katie Bowen in the GB newsroom. Counter-terrorism police are investigating a fire at Sir Keir Starmer's North London home that broke out in the early hours of this morning. London Fire Brigade attended and the fire was extinguished. No one was hurt in the overnight incident, which caused damage to a door at the property's entrance. Counter-terror police confirmed tonight that they are leading this investigation as, quote, a precaution due to the property having previous connections with a high-profile public figure. A Downing Street spokesman said that the Prime Minister thanks the emergency services for their work. The incident is subject to a live investigation and we won't be commenting further. There are further reports tonight, exclusively in the Mail Online, that police are looking at a fire at another property and a vehicle linked to Sir Keir Starmer and investigating if the blazes are linked. Our Home and Security editor, Mark White, gave this update earlier on.
It happened about 1:10 in the morning. Just after that, the fire brigade got calls to reports of a fire in the main entrance to this building. Local residents were reporting a loud bang followed by this fire. And listen, we just need to look at the various images that we have of the police response. They're in full forensic clothing. They don't turn up for a chip pan fire, even at a Prime Minister's residence, if it's just a domestic, non-suspicious fire. It's clearly a suspicious fire. Real concern that this may have been a deliberate firebombing attempt.
Elsewhere, the Home Secretary has said that immigration has not been properly controlled or managed, as she outlined the government's immigration white paper in the House of Commons. Yvette Cooper said that the government will strengthen checks on visas to end abuse of the system, as she announced that the White Paper will end the overseas recruitment of care workers. The Home Secretary went on to say that higher English language standards will be put in place for those that come to the UK. She added that the government will go further to increase returns of foreign criminals. Her announcement comes as the Prime Minister promised a significant fall in net migration this morning, saying without controls on immigration, we risk becoming an island of strangers. While Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp criticised the government for record small boat arrivals this year and demanded further action. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper said that immigration is not the answer to the skills shortage, adding that the measures should reduce visa numbers by around 100,000 a year.
The impact of the changes to skilled worker visas, care worker visas, settlements, students and English language is expected to reduce visas by a further around 100,000 a year. And in addition, the new workforce strategies, immigration skills charge, family and asylum reforms will further bring numbers down on top of that. And as the Prime Minister has said, where we need to go further to restore a sustainable system, we will.
A cable fault has caused severe travel disruption and a fire in London today. Transport for London suspended several tube lines due to a power failure. Disruption remains on the Bakerloo, District and Jubilee lines, while the overground Mildmay line is also disrupted. A spokesman for TfL said that there was an outage following a fire at an electrical substation in West London. The outage was said to last for a matter of minutes and everything shut down due to a national grid issue. And the King attended the Household Cavalry New Standards Parade at Windsor Castle earlier today. The standards symbolise the cavalry squadron's history, achievements and identity, and are held in the highest reverence. His Majesty, alongside the Princess Royal, inspected the parade. King Charles told the Household Cavalry to carry the standards with pride and serve your country well. Those are the latest GBNews headlines. Now let's go back to Patrick.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Just like to start this hour with an apology. If it seems as though I'm beading somewhat and burning from the mouth, it's because I had too much curry in the break there. And now I look like this. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then just rewind and watch the last segment of the last hour. Anyway, moving on to more serious news. The big news is that today, Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer talked tough on cutting legal immigration. It will take you 10 years to obtain British residency. He's cutting foreign workers in the care sector, and migrants, as well as their dependents, will have to speak English. Do you believe a word he says? This is the same man who signed a letter blocking the deportation of Jamaican criminals. Several of those on board that plane were convicted of rape, GBH, robbery and drug offences. His maiden speech as an MP, first speech as an MP in 2015, criticised Tory deportation policies.
As we now celebrate the 800th anniversary of Magna Carta, let us affirm the principle that human rights apply to everyone equally. Any proposed British Bill of Rights inconsistent with that principle will not be worth the paper it's written on and will face widespread opposition.
OK, he said there is a racist undercurrent that permeates all immigration law. He said the Labour Party needed to make the case for more immigration.
The Labour Party's been a bit scared of making the positive case for immigration for quite a number of years. I think we need to turn that round. The whole of the United Kingdom is better because of immigration.
The whole of the United Kingdom is better because of immigration. He demanded free movement with the EU post-Brexit and even wanted EU nationals to have full voting rights. But it's not just the Prime Minister, it's the whole Labour top team. Yvette Refugees Welcome Cooper wanted us to take more asylum seekers.
So it is time for us to do more. And yes, the politics are difficult, but not if we do this together. It's time for the government to pull together an urgent national conference to work with communities and councils to see how many places we can offer to refugees from Syria and the Mediterranean.
What changed, Yvette? What changed? Pat McFadden, the Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster in 2018, said immigration debates dehumanise people. Oh, where's he today, then? Is he out backing this? Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner in 2021 said our NHS would collapse without the staff who were born overseas, and they deserve better than cheap xenophobia. Well, does she now have to go? How can she stand behind a man who today is pushing these so-called xenophobic policies? The Prime Minister also said this today.
Growth question. I do think this is worth taking some time on, because the theory that higher migration numbers necessarily leads to higher growth has been tested in the last 4 years. So we've had the highest net migration when the last government lost control to nearly 1 million, and stagnant growth. And so that link doesn't hold on that evidence.
Yeah, so Keir Starmer there, OK, saying what people like me and loads of you at home or wherever you're listening on the radio have been demonised for saying for years, that there is not a solid economic argument for mass immigration. And now he's coming out and saying it, despite calling people, you know, every name under the sun for daring to say that years ago. Well, Foreign Secretary David Lammy said this back in 2018. All the evidence shows, both EU and non-EU migrants are hugely beneficial to the UK. Almost every politician knows this. Mastermind himself there, of course. So, does he agree with today's announcement, or does he have to go as well? Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson attacked Tory party plans to lower student migration numbers in 2023. So has she had a change of heart as well? Sir Keir Starmer has built a professional career, a political career, and quite possibly a friendship circle around being pro-mass immigration, pro-multiculturalism, and saying that it's great for the UK economy, and that people who oppose that are probably a massive racist. Well, today, he is asking you to believe that he now thinks the opposite. I think he's taking the British public for fools, don't you? Let's get thoughts from our wonderful panel this evening. We, of course, have journalist and broadcaster Carol Malone, Labour Party activist Chris Worrell, and the former chairman of the Tory party, Sir Jake Berry. Carol, I don't use this word lightly, because Keir Starmer will deny this. Is he just lying to everyone?
Yes, I think he is lying. I mean, we have concrete examples of his lies. You've just shown some of them there. You know, our borders are never going to be secure under Keir Starmer. He has spent decades with his party applauding the number of migrants coming into this country. You know, we know, the stuff that he said, you named some there. He said all immigration laws are racist. He said we should give all foreigners the vote. You're suffering with your curry, aren't you?
I am.
Your eyes are watering now.
I'll be really honest with you, everyone at home. Very serious topic.
Yes.
I currently have a chilli at the back of my throat.
Yes.
So carry on.
Yeah, you definitely have. Your eyes are watering.
Yeah.
He's saying, everything he did today is only going to get reform, a few more 100,000 votes, because we know he's a fraud. This is fraudulent. They've all been campaigning for years to get more migrants in here, and it's and now he's saying they don't. Nothing in this paper will turn people away from reform. And he's trying to say today in that speech, he said, this wasn't a political speech. He's saying all this because it's the right thing to do. Well, he didn't think it was the right thing to do before the reform wins last Thursday. Suddenly he thinks it is the right thing to do.
No, Jack, it's not just Keir Starmer, it's everyone. It's Yvette Cooper, it's Angela Rayner, it's David Lammy, it's all of that stuff. They have been saying the opposite of today's announcement for at least the last 20 years. So how can we believe a word they say?
Well, look, they're in a blind panic, aren't they? So Reform gave the Conservative Party particularly, but also the Labour Party, an absolute battering last Thursday. And they're sort of all mainstream, large political parties are running around saying, what do we do, what do we do, what do we do? The truth is, this is Labour's reaction to it. But Keir Starmer was challenged 3 times today at that press conference. Will you confirm that immigration will be below 500,000 people a year? And he refused to answer. Yeah. Now, let's put that into context. Their target is to build 300,000 houses a year, 1.5 million in this parliament. So let's think about that. So even if they built every house they said they're going to build, which, by the way, they won't, but let's be charitable and say that they will, that still wouldn't be enough just to house the immigrants that are going to be in the country. And this is why people are so angry. This is why they're turning for reform. That's why Reform's narrative around let's have net zero migration, let's keep the numbers where they are today is so popular. And this is a panic response and a man who doesn't believe a word he's saying himself.
Well, let's put that. So, Chris, is Keir Starmer there standing up before the nation and admitting that he was been wrong all his life, or is he lying?
He's implementing what he got elected on his manifesto. If you look at the manifesto from 2024, Stronger Foundations is a section, talks about restoring order to asylum, the asylum system, talking about increasing negotiation of removal agreements, and a number of other things like putting in people to actually deport them, as well as the Border Security Command Bill. I mean, the thing about reform is, you know, it's just the Brexit Party reincarnate. We had Nigel Farage in 2019 stepped down 300 MPs when he could have had a say in the Brexit agreements. He bottled it. So now we've got all the people that have, you know, battled for Brexit, all moaning about all this stuff that's happened today, when literally what has been announced today has all been put in the manifesto plan in 2024 and it's all been elected on, and he's implementing it.
His manifesto said he was going to stop the vote, and he hasn't even made a dent in stopping
Can I zone in on something? Can I zone in on something that I must say I find really annoying, actually, which is the immigration stuff. Sorry, the immigration stuff. The economic side of it. Yeah, I find that really funny. The economic side, yeah. I've been hiding it. The economic side of it. OK, so it's him saying now, essentially, that the economic case for mass migration has been shattered. Well, we've all been living that for ages. And for as long as I can remember, if you said that there's no serious economic case for mass immigration...
Far-right extremist, aren't you?
Far-right extremist.
Yeah. And
in
what
fact,
I find interesting
can I just say, one of his own MPs today likened that strangers on the island quote to actually far-right. He said that's far-right. So his own party are accusing him now of being far-right. Well, it's one of your MPs.
People like Upsana Begum, people like Claudia Webb, who I know are not entirely involved in the Labour Party, but come from that wing of politics, were in the Labour Party, are comparing him to Enoch Powell, Chris.
It's lazy and dishonest to be considering that at the end of Enoch Powell. It's about, you know, it's not scapegoats, it's about solutions. And we've got to make sure that he's not rejecting migrants, not driving a wedge on race issues.
How many migrants coming into the country is acceptable? We think 500,000 a year?
I'm not going to put numbers on it at the end of the day. Because you talk about...
The person who's got real questions to answer on this is Boris Johnson, who was on your show last Thursday, I believe, talking about the E-Day. Brilliant show.
Thank you.
Because, of course, under his watch, when he became Prime Minister, net migration was 187,000 a year. When he left, it was 1 million.
It was.
And as Boris Johnson shows a bit of ankle to the British public and thinks about coming back into British politics, what he has to justify is that Boris wave. Why did it go up to...
But you had the Migration Observation Committee actually putting all these things, to be fair to Boris, that was legal migration and just ramped it up.
Can I ask you a direct question?
Yeah, go on the economic side.
If Starmer was still in opposition and the Tories had announced exactly this today, what do you honestly think he'd have said about it?
Well, look, the thing about the economic point you made earlier is that the data is different now. You know, across Europe they've been finding between EU and non-EU migration, you've got dynamic and...
A nation of strangers? Because that implies that multiculturalism has failed, doesn't it?
Well, we're a British society, we're not a multicultural society. I've always said that. And I think we've got to make sure we're not invoking any sort of, you know, race-baiting politics. It's about fixing dysfunction, and that has been in the manifesto from day one.
But this is just ineffectual tinkering. Yvette Cooper has said this will only reduce immigration by 50,000. That is about the same number of illegal people who came in here last year. Exactly. So it's not going to make any difference
I've got
whatsoever.
some breaking news. Sorry about this. Sorry to cut you off in your prime.
Sorry, darling.
Apologies, but I think you want to comment on that.
Oh, go on.
So, some hugely embarrassing breaking news for the Prime Minister this evening. Our Home and Security Editor, Mark White, has just phoned in, and he's told us we can now reveal around 600 small boat migrants arrived in the UK today alone. So that's the latest from our Home and Security Editor. That breaking news there. I mean, this is, you know, just yet again, the weather's supposed to be quite good tomorrow, isn't it? So maybe we'll see a similar number come across. Yeah, look, I do, Jake, this is a guy, Keir Starmer, who has made a career, an actual professional career out of going into bat for people like this that we've seen culture. Then also a political career out of doing it. His maiden speech in the House of Commons was about this kind of stuff and how we need to be kinder. He's then also, I would guess, and I don't really need to guess because I do know a bit about this, that his friendship circle is entirely based, or not entirely, sorry, that's unfair, is largely based around people who don't believe in strong borders, who don't believe in deportations and all of this stuff. I don't think he's going to do anything about this, because after politics, he's got to go back and go to those same dinner parties. And he is going to be persona non grata if he starts shipping people off.
Well, I just don't think he'll do it. And I think what Carol was about to go on and say is that quite a lot of this... Well, let's put it into context, though. Bit of quick maths. That's cost the British taxpayer £7.2 million on the Home Office's own figures, 12,000 a year, even though that's far too low, just in one day. That's the additional cost of the British taxpayer for housing those people, £7.2 million. But I think what Carol was about to say is quite a lot of the proposals in this don't even come in till 2028.
Yep.
This is just an exercise in trying to grab headlines. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever.
And the business about the judges saying that he's going to tell them to not be taking these ridiculous excuses. You know, Theresa May tried that back in 2012 and the judges ignored him. And the fact he's now made this fresh commitment to the ECHR means he's not going to deport them. He also, let me just say this, he has an Attorney General who has said he will not defy any ruling by the ECHR.
Yeah.
So how's he going to deport all these people?
Yeah, all right. I mean, Chris, just a point on this, really. I mean, yeah, Keir Starmer now saying that he's gonna do all these things, tougher English tests, you know, cutting down on the care sector, you know, clamping down on all of this. Do you think he's a racist?
It's not a hate crime to make someone want to learn English. At the end of the day, we've got to make sure we're focused on integration, and, you know, that's the way it should be. I mean, the thing about those boats coming over, none of them are going to be able to get citizenship. That's a Labour policy that's been in place. And as for the ECHR, you know, if we sort of remove ourselves from this European Convention of Human Rights, what will happen is, with two-thirds of the world we can't deport, even if we want to deport the countries that we can deport to, we're not going to be able to, because they're going to say you don't comply with human rights. You've got trade deals reliant on it. You've got the Good Friday Agreement reliant on it.
Like, two things. First of all, you say they're not going to be able to get citizenship. Absolutely wrong. If they have a successful asylum application, it's the current Labour government's
policy. That's not the policy.
That they get citizenship. The Conservative policy was that they would be deported for the crime.
That's not the policy.
And on the human rights point, Australia isn't in the ECHR.
No, France or Germany, they still deport, no problem.
North America, America or Canada, they deport people.
Who are we going to deport it to? France.
We're going to have to go. Look, it's up to... We could go all night. We could. Everyone at home, listening on radio, whatever you're doing, you can make your minds about whether or not you believe what Keir Starmer and that lot has had to say, but it's another thing for the likes of Angela Rayner and David Lammy, after Starmer's done the pensioners and the farmers and business owners over, that they have to line up behind that guy after a kicking in the local elections and say, I still back him. How many more of their beliefs are they going to compromise? How many more? Anyway, it's time for our Great British giveaway, a 67 grand motorhome plus £5 in tax-free cash. Here's how you can be in it to win it. Look, I've got some developing news for you, and this is what appears to be a series of attacks on the Prime Minister's homes / other property. The counter-terrorism police are currently looking into 3 incidents in relation to Keir Starmer and arson. It's a very serious story, this. I'll have all the details for you very, very shortly. But in other news, can you tell me what's going on here? First, though, Kent police are facing a lawsuit. They raided a former copper's home. They arrested him for a tweet, and they said that he didn't have the right books, things like Douglas Murray and, I don't know, Michael Portillo's Great Train Getaways or whatever it was. Anyway, stay tuned.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. I mean, maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
I mean, it's an absolute first for science in the UK. Of course, it's not actually the first in the world. Actually, there's been 65 children born through womb transplants. But not only is this wonderful for the family concerned, and, you know, what a sister, what an elder sister to donate her womb, but there's 15,000 women in the UK who suffer from this Mayer-Rokitansky-Kuster-Hauser syndrome, where they might have healthy ovaries, but unfortunately the womb doesn't work. Real ray of hope for them. The real hero here, I think, as well as the sister, is Professor Richard Smith from the Imperial NHS Trust. He spent 26 years developing this, started a charity, Womb Transplant UK. Wow. So this was all paid for through his charity. Doctors gave up their time for free. 17 hours of surgery, not for the faint-hearted, but lovely result.
And the baby is named after the sister, Amy, who donated her womb, and her middle name is Isabel, who's after the surgeon who essentially transplanted that womb. And to do that, you had to connect all of the tiny little blood vessels with minuscule stitches. I mean, it's incredible, isn't it?
It really is.
It is incredible. But, Anna, I put it to you, what would you say to people who would say, what is the point of this? Because you're not going to be able to provide this on the NHS. We can't afford to.
Well, as I said, that was one of my first thoughts, I have to say, when I was looking through this, and the fact that this professor has spent 26 years and actually started a charity. There are going to be a few more of these coming, but they're not going to be funded by the NHS. They are going to be funded by charity.
GB News, the People's Channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, and as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/your-say. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Welcome back. OK, slight change of plan. There is some more breaking news this evening. Counter-terrorism police are now investigating a third suspected arson attack relating to the Prime Minister. The Times are reporting that not only are the two properties being investigated, but now a vehicle fire is being probed. We'll bring the latest as it happened. I'll just read that again. Counter-terrorism police are now investigating a third suspected arson attack relating to the Prime Minister. Two involve a property, as in a home, and one involves a vehicle, OK? A Metropolitan Police spokesperson said the investigation team are also considering two other incidents, a vehicle fire in NW5 on the 8th of May and a fire at the entrance of a property in N7 on the 11th of May. In case you don't already know, which I suspect you do, those are obviously postcodes. And they say they are also investigating whether they may be linked to the fire in NW5 on the 12th of May. At this early stage of the investigation, officers are working to establish the circumstances of all three fires and are keeping an open mind as to whether there is any connection. All are being treated as suspicious at this time. Inquiries remain ongoing. Well, as luck would have it, joining me now is the former Detective Chief Superintendent at the Metropolitan Police, Kevin Hurley. Kevin, not what we initially had you on to talk about, so we will move it on shortly, but thank you for being here. What would be going through your mind now, then? What will be going through the counter-terrorism police's mind or the police's mind? Three suspicious incidents involving arson and the Prime Minister's property. Go.
Well, from a personal point of view, it's outrage. We live in a democracy. There is no place for anyone attacking physically the property or families and so on of any elected member of our parliament. So that's my first point, regardless of what you think. And secondly, what counter-terrorist police will now be trying to do is really piece together the various investigations that have gone on, see if there is any kind of link. They'll be starting to look at perhaps mobile phones, operations in the area and so on. But the bottom line on it is all of us should stand together, whether you vote reform or you vote Socialist Workers' Party and say, this is not what we do in Great Britain. We are already losing some of our principles in the way we live in this country. This is the thin end of the wedge and needs to be stopped immediately.
Just in terms of the practical operations that will be taking place at the moment, so you've got 3 separate incidents, 2 involving housing property, 1 involving a car. What kind of procedure will they be doing? They'll be scouring CCTV, won't they, at those exact times? They'll be looking to see if it's multiple people.
Yeah, I mean, Matt, all of that is absolutely correct. They'll be doing, as you're showing a video of, I don't know where this is, but an intensive crime scene investigation to look for whatever forensic evidence may be available. They'll be looking for CCTV in surrounding buildings, on buses that pass nearby. They may well be looking at mobile phone activity in those particular areas to see if any are being used more, are becoming more relevant, and they're appearing in all those areas. And of course, one tool that police have now got that they didn't have before is artificial intelligence to assist them with analysis. As I still work in this field in another country, advising on these issues, and artificial intelligence is now becoming increasingly valuable because it can do the work of a team of analysts within 10 seconds if you feed in the various bits and pieces of information. Of course, there's other technology that's starting to be used now, which is facial recognition, and more important, something that I know the Met are looking at, which is the use of super recognisers. These are people who've got an ability to look at even the side view of someone's face, and they will link that to a picture they saw months ago.
Wow.
I hope they put a lot of assets onto this. I know they will, because we cannot have someone attacking the Prime Minister of our country.
What does this look like to you, though? Do you think this looks like some kind of, someone with a personal grudge? Does it look like it could be some kind of terrorist thing? I mean, just with your kind of hat on, what do you think?
A nutter, maybe someone with a grudge, fixated person. There is a unit within the Met that deals with what they call fixated threats on the royal family or on politicians. I'm sure they are already active looking at who are particular threats there. Because, if this was a serious person, they'd have done a lot more than what's happened. But notwithstanding that, I make my original point, we are a democracy, and whether or not you like Keir Starmer or not, we cannot tolerate the Prime Minister of our country, who's actually appointed by the Sovereign, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, there's a point that I will make. Sorry, Kevin, we're just because we're a bit pressed. I'm really sorry about this, because we did get you on to talk about something else entirely, and we've been overtaken by events. So I thank you for being so malleable there for us. But we'll just make a point quickly, which is that if these are properties that are owned by the Prime Minister or things owned by the Prime Minister, I appreciate that at least one of those properties he's definitely renting out to other people. But if we cannot protect the property of the leader of our country, what hope do any of us have? Normal, ordinary people out walking the street. It sends a very bad signal there, I think. But, Kevin, thank you. We're going to have to knock it on the head there, mate, but I've got a feeling you'll be a man in demand tomorrow as this story develops. So thank you very much.
You're welcome anytime.
Thank you, mate. All the best. OK. That's Kevin Hurley there, retired Met police officer. What do you make of that? I think we might be a bit more detail on some of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, so we'll have the latest on that terrorist investigation into what's looked like a coordinated attack on our Prime Minister's homes and potentially car as well. Oh, and in lighter news, what's going on here? All right, all that and much more in just a few minutes' time. Oh, and I've got some big news about tomorrow's show. Stay tuned.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Spring showers are possible across many areas of the Mediterranean over the next few days. Some of those could be heavy at times, maybe with some hail, thunder and some strong gusts of wind. It will also be generally quite breezy around coastal districts, but further inland away from the showers there will be some drier conditions prevailing and sunny spells managing to poke their way through at times. And into the outlook period as well, we will still see some of those sunny spells to enjoy at times.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Showers tending to ease overnight, but there will be more for some later on Tuesday. However, for many, it is going to turn increasingly sunny once again over the next few days. High pressure waiting to push back in. This low that brought the thundery downpours in places over the last couple of days is now starting to move south. Having said that, there will still be 1 or 2 showers overnight, especially parts of Wales into the Midlands and the southeast. And there'll be some low cloud drifting into the north and east of Scotland, as well as northeast to England. Temperatures tending to dip to the high single figures, low double figures, and plenty of sunshine actually first thing Tuesday. Certainly a sunnier start for many of these western and southern parts of the UK where we saw some early cloud and rain on Monday morning. But it will be a dull start to the day for Orkney, for the north and east of Scotland, into Fife, as well as the far north-east of England. That low cloud tending to stick around for the first couple of hours before retreating back to the coast. Also some patchy cloud into the southwest of England, a brisk breeze here. But otherwise, it's going to be a sunny start essentially across most of the UK. Now, as the morning progresses and we go into the afternoon and as temperatures rise, the area where we saw some showers and thunderstorms on Monday will tend to provide a focus for further showers developing into Tuesday afternoon. South Wales, central southern England and the southeast most prone to these downpours. Hail, thunder, lightning, always a possibility, but these will be much more scattered compared with the last couple of days. And then as we go into the start of Wednesday, any showers basically restricted to Cornwall, perhaps Devon, and for most it's simply a sunny day with high pressure returning across the UK, some patchy low cloud on the North Sea coast, but we continue to see that high pressure and the sunny skies on Thursday and Friday.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
OK, welcome back, everybody. So we've got tomorrow's newspaper front pages now. Let's get stuck into those. The Metro, 50 years for Putin's minions. Despicable Bulgarian spy gang are jailed. So, yep, just what it says in the tin there, really. The I paper, grenade in the room. Care homes warn of closure over Home Office migrant visa ban. This is Keir Starmer's plan to reduce net migration. One of them is basically banning people from employing foreign care home staff and making it tougher for other people to arrive in the country. People are saying this is going to knacker the care home sector. We go to the Daily Mirror now. This is the big story of the evening, by the way, so we are going to zone in on this because I think there's more to come out here. Starmer house fire mystery. Terror cops probe blaze at the Prime Minister's home. Neighbours said that they heard a loud bang in the early hours, and it looked as though his front door was set on fire. But as you are about to hear, the story has actually moved on since the Daily Mirror obviously went to print. There are now another property involved and a car involved as well. So we'll get stuck into that. The Daily Express, we have heard it all before, but now is the time to deliver. They've gone in on Keir Starmer's big immigration announcement. They have done a comment piece, which is always interesting, I find, because they don't put a columnist's name on the front of it. So this is the Express's comment piece, which, to be fair, sometimes newspapers do when they don't want to get sued for anything, but I don't think this is the case here. As Keir Starmer becomes the latest PM to promise migration numbers will fall significantly, are we really an island of strangers? Let's take the Daily Mail. Labour's taking us all for fools. Starmer ridiculed over plan. Interesting, just compare and contrast there, the Daily Express versus the Daily Mail. The Daily Express have had a little shred of optimism saying, well, now is the time to deliver. The Daily Mail have gone straight in with, you're lying to us. Right, so there we are. I'll just finish off with the Telegraph. So they've gone terror probe into arson at the Prime Minister's home. Now, can I just make a point here, which is that I think they've made a bit of a mistake showing his actual house on the front page. Yep. Bearing in mind that it's just been firebombed, right? I think you could tell it exactly where the house is. Now, I know that some people could probably go and find out anyway, but I do wonder whether or not that's a bit of a mistake on the Daily Telegraph's part there, actually seriously identifying the house. Suspected firebomb at Starmer's family house may be linked to another blaze just 24 hours earlier, and now, as we know, a car as well. Carol, your initial reaction to what appears to be a coordinated arson attack on our Prime Minister's property?
Yeah, my first thought is how many properties he's actually got. My second thought is that terror cops would go and investigate because of who he is. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a terror attack. It could just be a very disgruntled person having a go. But nonetheless, it's quite scary. And I thought, I mean, I don't know whether I could be wrong about this, but I thought his wife still lived in the family home a lot of the time because Downing Street doesn't like it, whatever, which would be terrifying if that was... But I don't know, you know. It's kind of what we hear. I don't know if that's the case or not. But if it was, if any of his family were in there, it would have been absolutely terrifying. But, you know, we don't want this. I think one of your previous people you had on, you know, said nutter, who's done this. Well, it strikes me that that's exactly what this is, a nutter.
Chris, look, again, you know, we've been surrounded by the story for a bit, so forgive me if I'm not maybe sounding immediately as sensitive as people might think I should be. I'm going to knock it on a bit and say I actually wonder if this could play quite well for the Prime Minister in the polls.
Well, look, I mean, you know, I don't think that's what the important thing here. I think when we look at those 50 Bulgarians that were in a Russian spying, you know, the Telegraph's making a link to that, you know, is it a coincidence that's happened at the same time? I think the other thing that they've had is talking about a DHL, you know, there was an explosion or something caught on fire in that was a Russian spying device. And then that's not just after Donald Tusk, I think yesterday, had said that the Warsaw shopping centre was linked to Russian...
so you've got a feeling I mean, I know I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. You've got a feeling that there's a chance it could be something like Russia?
Well, yeah, and they've also talked about... Well, that's what they're saying in the Telegraph here, that the two could be linked, particularly with the Bulgarian spy network just getting locked down for 50 years as a bit of a response.
Oh, good stuff. Well, this is the benefit of you being able to sit and take a bit longer to actually read the story. I get the front pages handed to me. So, agents suspected of operating on behalf of Moscow have been involved in a number of arson attacks recently. Interesting that the Telegraph have gone there straight away, I suppose. Well, what do you make of this? What do you make of this?
I mean, the first thing to say is that even the Prime Minister's fiercest opponents from anyone involved in politics would say, you know, keeping our Prime Minister, his family, his assets, his properties safe should be of absolute primary importance for the United Kingdom. It's far too early to say what this relates to. It could be a disgruntled lone wolf actor. It could be state actors. I see that the Telegraph's gone there quite quickly. It's a bit of a leap. I don't think I would make that leap quite so fast. But it is absolutely right that this is...
They're also lobbing out... They're also floating the potential of pro-Palestine demonstrators. One group hung a banner outside one of the properties. This is not the same incident, of course. It said, Starmer, stop killing, surrounded by red handprints. Lady Starmer, who is of Jewish heritage, said that she felt a bit sick when she saw the demonstration. I mean, I think it is possibly testament to how many people the Prime Minister has angered so far that we're seeing. I mean, it could be anyone. What I'm saying is it could be anyone. It could be Palestine, it could be the far right, it could be a lone nutter, it could be a pro-pension activist. I mean, we don't know, do we?
But it is the first time, isn't it, that I can remember that this has happened. I mean, I can't remember this happening to any other Prime Minister before.
What message does it send, though, Chris? Seriously, if we can't protect Prime Minister's properties, how safe are we supposed to feel on the streets?
I mean, look, at the end of the day, when we've got firebombs going to one of our Prime Minister's properties, I think we all should be concerned. I mean, the fact that there was 50 Bulgarian spies arrested, this should be concerned, and we have got wider geopolitics at play here. There are organised groups, of whether it's pro-Palestine or other reasons, doing these sort of things and causing trouble, but we've got to make sure that if, at the end of the day, we're looking at making sure people are safe, like Jake said.
Yeah, Jake, I do think, though, you see, there's again, a wider point here, which is that I think for a lot of people there's already no incentive to go into frontline politics at all.
Yeah.
The money, and again, I appreciate that for many people in the country, I'm not making light of what you pay, like 90 grand plus expenses. It's a lot of money. But for a lot of top talented people, you can go make half a bar in the city, you can do whatever else, right? And you, for that price, have total intrusion into your personal life, total intrusion into your past. Everything about you gets dug up. Nothing is off limits, pretty much, unless you happen to have an injunction out against it. Nothing is off limits. And then you can end up in the firing line as well with something like this. Is this a lesson for people to just not go into politics, Jay?
I don't know. There aren't many careers. So I was a Member of Parliament for 14 years, and in my time in Parliament, 2 of my colleagues were murdered. There aren't many careers where you can say out of the 650 people I work with, 2 of them have been murdered.
Yeah.
So politicians are at risk. There's been a significant investment by the Speaker of the House of Commons, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, actually, to ensure that MPs are kept safe. MPs are well paid. It's a great job. It's a huge privilege to serve your community. I just really hope that good, hard-working people aren't put off going into politics.
Jake, there will be.
It's a brilliant job.
But they will be put off.
The minute you put off, you let people like this win. And that's a tragedy
but
for
they
Britain.
will be put off, and it's easy for you to say that. They will be put off because we know that MPs have resigned or left politics because of online threats, because of constant stream of online threats. So when you get something as tangible as this, where someone's firebombing your front door, it is going to put people off.
Well, let's wait and see what happens now. We've got all the detail we've got at the moment. I would hope, anyway, that the Metropolitan Police and Counter-Terrorism Police are going to move quite quickly with this. But again, I'll say, if they can't do it for the Prime Minister, then what chance have we got? So we should know the truth at some point soon. But I have got a couple more front pages to give you. And as sure as night follows day, The Guardian have just smeared everyone with concerns about migration as far right. I'll reveal all very soon. Stay tuned.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Well, wine. First, it was screw caps. That was very controversial, but we've all accepted them, haven't we? And now it's paper or cardboard bottles instead of glass bottles. Wine connoisseurs will get terribly upset about this, but will we all accept it one day? Probably. What's the sense behind it? Here it is. And it is, actually, there is no glass underneath that. It is cardboard.
Yes, it is.
Extraordinary, isn't it?
It's called When in Rome, a Pinot Grigio. And it says on the front, I have, and King Charles would love this because he loves all things sustainable, and it says on the front of the bottle, 6 times less carbon dioxide, planet-friendly wine. Oh, there we go, Pinot Grigio. So, does wine in a paper bottle taste as good? Let's test.
Hang on a minute, are you just going to talk about it, or are we going to see the water come out?
Should we see it come out? Well, I was going to introduce Malcolm
I want
as
to
well.
taste first, so I can
OK,
tell
we'll
you what I
taste it
think of
first. OK, here we go. We'll pour some.
Mm-hmm. This is Pinot Grigio.
Pinot Grigio, nice colour.
Very nice colour.
Lovely colour.
Looks
there you go,
good.
there's one for you.
Oh.
How does it smell?
Well, it's rotten at 8:26 in the morning.
I was going to say, I don't usually drink at 8:26 in the morning, but I will make an exception for
Now,
this.
there's interesting. This is something we will ask Malcolm. It's warm, obviously, because it's been in the office all night.
Yes.
Right? So if you wanted to stick that bottle in an ice bucket...
Yes.
Would it disintegrate? Let's ask him. He's the CEO of Frugal Pack, Malcolm Moore. A very good morning to you. Cheers.
Cheers, Malcolm.
Good morning. Cheers. I'm rather envious. Well, behind me, I've got quite a few bottles, but it's a bit early for me to start drinking wine.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. Maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. 2 more front pages. The Guardian, I said before, as night follows day. PM accused of echoing far-right rhetoric in immigration speech. Oh, my God. He's lost the left, hasn't he? He's lost the left. The Times, well, there you go. I'll tell you what, I mean, this is I'll just say it, totally gormless faces of some chaps who crossed the channel today, getting there, you know, 400 or so cross, 600 wasn't it? 12,000. There they are, lads. They're fantastic. Coming to a hotel near you. So that is what we're up against. Migration plan to curb 100,000 arrivals a year. They've also got the story there of Starmer House fires mystery. Right. Do we think Keir Starmer is onto a lose-lose here? The right don't believe him, Carol, on immigration, and the left now don't like him because they think he's far right.
Oh, so many MPs came out, Labour MPs, to have a go at him. I mean, quite rightly. But, you know, that picture you just pointed out in the Times, that's exactly the kind of picture that infuriates people. These people have come here illegally, and they're sticking 2 fingers up and saying, look at us, here we are, we're here. And that really annoys us, because we know that those people all have to be housed, and it's going to come out of our pocket. It's not fair and it's not right.
Yeah.
And he's done nothing to address
Chris,
that.
So we look at the pictures there on the front of the Times. I'll just say it again, completely gormless blokes who are going to come here, and I'll be amazed if they pay a single bit of tax over the course of the rest of their lives. But anyway, and then we've got the Guardian saying that actually what he's trying to do by clamping down on that is far right. What do you make of what the Guardian is saying?
I mean, he's lanyard class at the Guardian. I don't get him, to be honest. I mean, you've got, you know, Enoch Powell. One wrote hate speech and one is doing policy reform, and he's not saying
exactly which one's which.
Yeah. Well, you know, Jay. Well, ask the last administration that. Ask the last administration that. Yeah. But let's be honest. You know, we're not saying that we are one. It's just saying we don't need to become that. And I just find people who jump on this far right rhetoric is just nonsense.
But Keir Starmer's used it repeatedly.
Exactly, it's not far. Are you saying it is far right rhetoric then, Jay?
No, but
Come on.
He said anyone who talks
it's a far right rhetoric
Britain,
now,
which is absolutely plain for everyone to see, is a far-right extremist. He said anyone's concerned about immigration is a far-right...
That's not what he said.
Sauce for the goose is sauce for the...
He never said that.
He cocks up all the time, doesn't he? Because the care home stuff today was another huge mistake. That was like cutting the pensioners' winter fuel allowance, attacking people in care homes, attacking the way they're run. It's stupid. We need people from abroad in those care homes.
All right. Look, well, I'm just gonna pause it here because there's something I want to say about tomorrow night's show. Well, I've still got a little bit of time. So, I've decided to take a bit of a gamble for tomorrow night. I'm going to go somewhere, and I think it's somewhere that you all probably would want me to go for a variety of different reasons. It is more than a little bit risky, and I'm not going to tell you where because I don't want to tip anyone off. So tomorrow night's show is going to look very, very different. I, as it turns out, might not end up presenting it, so we're going to have to watch this space. But I'm hoping that in the day, if everything goes to plan, I'll be able to tell you where I am and exactly what I'm doing. But please do tune in tomorrow. Like I said, it's a big gamble. It might not pay off. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But life's all about risks, isn't it? But anyway, in other news, at least 1 in 5 UK households have some kind of smart camera bell on their front doors, and they can capture some really special moments and some rather less. We're doing this in honour of Prince Harry getting caught on a Ring doorbell, by the way. So here you go. Oh, it's a lady here. What could go wrong here? Stacked it again. Bosh. Have a bit of wall. Wall to the face. Ring doorbell. Oh, here we go. Oh, hello. Oh. Hello, kitty. Oh, I don't know what that was. What happened there?
Oh my God.
It's all gone a bit fast. Is that a deer?
It looks like a deer.
Oh, he's gone for it. That's a woodpecker. Yeah. There we go. I don't know what's going on here, by the way, now for these. But anyway, we're all about to die, apparently, according to that one. There you go. Anyway, some stuff on a Ring doorbell there. I think that was worth it in the round, wasn't it? So there we go. Right, OK. And, yeah, do any of you have a Ring doorbell?
Have you never tripped up on the step like that woman did? I have done that at least twice in the past 12
months. Not since rehab, no.
No, I've hurt myself twice doing exactly that. And one of the times when I came out to Gales with a bag full of cakes, and I was so upset because my cakes went across the pavement. And you know how much those cakes cost?
Gales, you probably had to remortgage your house.
Beyond.
Yeah, shocking. It did taste lovely, though. Anyway, coming up next It's Headliners, presented tonight by the wonderful, the one, the only Josh Howie. Josh, what's coming up on your show?
Hi, mate. We have got plenty of news, all of tomorrow's news. Is Trump going to be putting up the price of your drug prescriptions? We've got the NEU coming out, fighting for the right for men to go into female toilets. Do we really want our teachers who don't understand biology or the law? And we also have Lucy Connolly, the wife of an ex-Tory councillor. She is in prison for 31 months and she is going to appeal her sentence. Also, I won an award.
Yes, there you go. Well, it was a joint award, like the Green Party, aren't we? We have to have a co-award. Anyway, right, thank you very much, Josh. Going to be a great show. So thank you to my wonderful panel, and thank you as well. Like I said, you might not see me tomorrow. You might not see me again. Who knows? We're going to take a punt tomorrow. I'm going to go somewhere that I think you'd all like to see me, and we'll see whether or not I come back. So take it easy.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Showers tending to ease overnight, but there will be more for some later on Tuesday. However, for many, it is going to turn increasingly sunny once again over the next few days. High pressure waiting to push back in. This low that brought the thundery downpours in places over the last couple of days is now starting to move south. Having said that, there will still be 1 or 2 showers overnight, especially parts of Wales into the Midlands and the southeast. And there'll be some low cloud drifting into the north and east of Scotland, as well as northeast to England. Temperatures tending to dip to the high single figures, low double figures, and plenty of sunshine actually first thing Tuesday. Certainly a sunnier start for many of these western and southern parts of the UK where we saw some early cloud and rain on Monday morning. But it will be a dull start to the day for Orkney, for the north and east of Scotland, into Fife, as well as the far north-east of England. That low cloud tending to stick around for the first couple of hours before retreating back to the coast. Also some patchy cloud into the southwest of England, a brisk breeze here. But otherwise, it's going to be a sunny start, essentially, across most of the UK. Now, as the morning progresses and we go into the afternoon and as temperatures rise, the area where we saw some showers and thunderstorms on Monday will tend to provide a focus for further showers developing into Tuesday afternoon. South Wales, central southern England and the southeast most prone to these downpours. Hail, thunder, lightning, always a possibility, but these will be much more scattered compared with the last couple of days. And then as we go into the start of Wednesday, any showers basically restricted to Cornwall, perhaps Devon, and for most it's simply a sunny day with high pressure returning across the UK, some patchy low cloud on the North Sea coast, but we continue to see that high pressure and the sunny skies on Thursday and Friday.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop star to politicians, I'll interview anybody
in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. Maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Thanks for joining us. It's 11 o'clock, which means it's time for tomorrow's newspapers tonight. Join us over the next hour to find out, is Trump going to make your prescription drugs go up in price? Has the Labour government gone far right? And do our teachers know what a woman is? I'm Josh Howie. Tonight, I am joined by Simon Evans and Kerry Marks to take you through Tuesday's top stories. This is Headliners. But before tomorrow's news, let's go to tonight's headlines with Katie Bowen.
Josh, thank you and good evening. The top stories from the GB newsroom. A developing story tonight, counter-terror police are now investigating a total of 3 fires, all linked to Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer. Earlier, it was revealed that counter-terrorism police were investigating a fire that broke out at Sir Keir Starmer's North London home in the early hours of this morning, which caused damage to the property's entrance. It's now emerged tonight that 2 other fires, a vehicle fire and a fire at the entrance of a property in Islington, are being investigated to see if there are possible links to that other incident. The Metropolitan Police said that officers are working to establish the circumstances of all 3 fires and are keeping an open mind as to whether there is any connection. A Downing Street spokesman said earlier today that the Prime Minister thanks the emergency services for their work. The incident is subject to a live investigation and we won't be commenting further. Elsewhere, the Home Secretary has said that immigration has not been properly controlled or managed, as she outlined the government's immigration white paper in the House of Commons. Yvette Cooper said that the government will strengthen checks on visas to end abuse of the system, as she announced that the white paper will end the overseas recruitment of care workers. The Home Secretary went on to say that higher English language standards will be put in place for those that come to the UK. She added that the government will go further to increase return of foreign criminals. Her announcement comes as the Prime Minister promised a significant fall in net migration this morning, saying without controls on immigration, we risk becoming an island of strangers. While Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp criticised the government for record small boat arrivals this year and demanded further action. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper said that immigration is not the answer to the skills shortage, adding that the measures should reduce visa numbers by around 100,000 a year.
The impact of the changes to skilled worker visas, care worker visas, settlements, students and English language is expected to reduce visas by a further around 100,000 a year. And in addition, the new workforce strategies, immigration skills charge, family and asylum reforms will further bring numbers down on top of that. And as the Prime Minister has said, where we need to go further to restore a sustainable system, we will.
A cable fault has caused severe travel disruption and a fire in London today. Transport for London suspended several tube lines due to a power failure. Disruption remained well into tonight on the Bakerloo, District and Jubilee lines, while the overground Mildmay line was also disrupted. A A spokesman for TfL said that there was an outage following a fire at an electrical substation in West London. The outage was said to last for a matter of minutes and everything shut down due to a national grid issue. And the King attended the Household Cavalry New Standards Parade at Windsor Castle earlier today. The standards symbolise the cavalry squadron's history, achievements and identity and are held in the highest reverence. His Majesty, alongside the Princess Royal, inspected the parade. King Charles told the Household Cavalry to carry the standards with pride and serve your country well. Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now it's time for Headliners.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Hello and welcome to Headliners, where we're going to give you the very best of tomorrow's newspapers with the best of today's comedians. First things first, going to have a look at the front pages. Let's go first of all to The Guardian. The PM accused of echoing far-right rhetoric. Mirror, terror cops probe blaze at PM home. The Telegraph, terror probe into arson at PM home. Express, we have heard it all before, but now it is time to deliver. The Metro, 50 years of Putin's minions. And the Mail, Labour's taking us all for fools. Plenty of news to get through. Hello, Simon. Hello, Kerry.
What's up?
Simon, we really should have communicated before we got dressed today.
Oh, we're to some extent matching, yes.
Yes, I idolise you.
Not enough to embarrass you in a cocktail party scenario, I don't think.
And I thought, match your shirts.
Yeah.
Yes, very well.
Switch over.
Oh, yeah, you've done the inversion there. So, look, we have got a huge amount of news.
Maybe we're paying tribute to the degree to which Keir Starmer is wearing the Tories' clothes.
Oh!
It could be seen as a satire.
Nice lead in there.
Yes,
Thank you.
very indeed. Well, let's go to the Mail then.
Yes, that's their headline, essentially, without the colour coding. Labour's taking us all for fools. Whether that's their belief or whether they're just... Obviously, their reaction to the reaction to the reaction. Well, the Mail they're not quite as sound as they used to be, in my view, but that's a minor issue. Their headline says that Sir Keir Starmer was accused of taking the public for fools as he proposed an immigration crackdown after years of backing open borders. Anyone watching this programme tonight is probably aware it's been the main story all day. Keir Starmer's come out with rhetoric which members of his own party, such as Zara Sultana, have said with some degree of accuracy, echoes Enoch Powell's Rivers of Blood speech.
I thought it was her being ridiculous.
No, I don't say it. The only difference is that I don't see it as necessarily quite such a condemnation. But
I think she's lost the whip, I have to say, at the moment.
He says that that the open borders immigration policy of the Tories is in danger of making us a nation of strangers. Powell used that term, British people being made strangers in their own land. So there is an echo there, whether it's deliberate. But I'd be amazed if Keir Starmer doesn't know that speech pretty well.
And maybe strangers from each other as opposed to strangers from the land.
I
think he's saying we're becoming an island of strangers, and he's right. I don't recognise the Labour Party anymore. But it's odd to see the Mail turning on Starmer for doing what the Mail wants, which they've been asking for a long time, and now. But of course, there's the argument he's doing it for the wrong reasons, and next he's going to announce that the Labour Party is changing its name to Super Reform and going to try and outdo them. And I can see it. Of course, Nigel Farage is also saying that it's insincere, and certainly it's a suspicious or maybe an obvious move just 2 weeks after local elections in which Reform really wiped the floor with both the major parties, and that they're now wearing GIMP masks and saying thanks for that.
The question is, do we think, are we cynical? Do we think this is a real conversion to a different ideology? Only very short time ago, this was seemingly far-right rhetoric.
I mean, I don't care